This week, millions of Americans woke up to a notification they didn't expect. A quiet policy shift buried in government reports could affect how much food assistance, disability income, and veteran benefits reach your account every single month. I'm talking about changes that could reduce what some people receive by hundreds of dollars annually. And here's what makes this particularly urgent. Most people have no idea it's happening right now. If you receive SSI, SSDI, SNAP, or VA benefits, or if someone you love depends on these lifelines, the next 11 minutes could save you from a financial crisis you never saw coming. My name is Emily, and I've been tracking policy changes like this for years, helping people navigate the system when government agencies don't make things clear. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what's changing, who's at risk, why this matters so much right now, and most importantly, what you can do starting today to protect your benefits and your family's security. By the end of this video, you'll have a concrete action plan that puts you back in control. So stick with me. Let me start by establishing something really important here. These aren't handouts you're receiving. Whether you're on SSI because you're disabled or elderly and worked your entire life, whether you're on SSDI because you paid into the system and now need it, whether you're using SNAP benefits to feed your kids after losing work, or whether you're a veteran who sacrificed for this country, you've earned these benefits. You've paid taxes, you've served, you've contributed to society. That's why when policy changes threaten to reduce what you receive, it's not just about money. It's about dignity, security, and honoring what you've already given. I know how it feels when bills pile up, when you're counting every dollar to decide between medication and groceries, when you lie awake wondering if you'll have enough to cover rent next month. That stress, that anxiety, it's real. And I want you to know that you're not alone, and you're not crazy for being concerned about what's about to happen. Here's the core issue we need to talk about. In October 2025, a series of regulatory changes are beginning to take effect that directly impact how SSI and SNAP benefits interact with each other and how benefit calculations are made for disabled and elderly individuals. The Department of Social Security Administration, working with the Department of Agriculture, has implemented new income counting rules that could reduce the benefit amount for approximately 400,000 to 600,000 households across the country. The specific concern is related to how certain types of income are being treated in the benefit calculation process, and it appears to center on what's called the income deeming rules. What does that mean in plain English? It means the government is changing how they count your money, how they measure what you have, and ultimately, how much assistance they're willing to give you. Some households could see their monthly SNAP benefits drop by up to $200. For SSI recipients, the impact could be similarly significant, potentially reducing monthly payments or affecting eligibility entirely. Veterans receiving VA disability compensation could also see changes to how those benefits interact with other assistance programs. For a family already living paycheck to paycheck, losing $200 a month isn't an inconvenience. It's a threat to food security, housing stability, and basic survival. Let me break down the timeline of what's happening and why it matters so much right now. Back in early 2024, the Social Security Administration began reviewing how they calculate benefits for elderly and disabled individuals, particularly those who receive multiple types of assistance. They found that in many cases, certain types of irregular income, gifts, bonuses, tax refunds, even stimulus payments in some cases, were being counted inconsistently across different programs and different state systems. The goal, according to official statements, was to standardize the system and make it fairer. But here's where it gets concerning. Standardizing the system upward would help people. Standardizing downward, changing how income is counted to reduce what people receive, that's a different story entirely. By mid-2025, these new rules were finalized and transmitted to all state agencies administering these programs. We saw some states begin implementation in July and August, running pilot programs to test how the new rules would affect recipients. October 2025 marks the official nationwide rollout. This isn't something that might happen. This is something that's happening right now, in real time, across the country. And if your benefits are calculated under these new rules, you could see changes reflected in your next payment or your next recertification, whichever comes first. Let me be specific about who this affects most directly, because I want you to understand if you or someone you care about is in this group. If you receive both SSI and SNAP benefits, and this is about 4 million Americans, you're potentially looking at a significant decrease. The new rules treat something called in-kind support and maintenance differently than before. Basically, if someone helps you with housing or food, the way that assistance is counted has changed. If a family member lets you live with them without paying rent, or if someone gives you groceries, these things now count as income in a way they didn't before, or they count differently than they used to. This could make you ineligible for certain benefits or reduce the amount you receive. If you receive SSDI and your spouse works, your family's benefits could be affected by how the spousal income is now being counted. SNAP recipients who are able-bodied but in difficult circumstances may find themselves subject to stricter work requirements because of how hours and income are now being tracked. Veterans and their families who receive VA benefits could see interactions with other benefit programs change, potentially affecting total household assistance. Elderly individuals on SSI who receive help from family members are particularly vulnerable to seeing their benefits reduced under these new rules. This is affecting real people right now, and the numbers are staggering. We're talking about potentially millions of households facing unexpected reductions. But here's what happens next. And this is where the tension starts to build. When these changes take effect, most people won't get a warning letter. Most people will just notice their benefit amount dropped. Some will receive a notice dated weeks after the change, making it too late to prepare. Social Security Administration has said they're sending out notifications, but based on what happened with similar policy changes in the past, we know that not everyone receives them. They're sometimes confusing, and many people don't understand what they mean. So the first 10 days of November 2025 are critical. That's typically when people notice payment changes. That's when the panic might start. Then comes the second phase. Between mid-November and December, thousands of people will call the Social Security Administration, SNAP offices, and VA benefits lines trying to understand what happened. The phone lines will be overwhelmed. Average wait times will stretch to 2 hours or more. Many people won't get through. Those who do might be transferred multiple times and end up with inconsistent information. This is the hardest phase, the most frustrating phase, the phase where people feel like they've lost control. But then, here's the hope part, and I need you to hear this. There are solutions. There are appeals processes. There are ways to protect yourself before this even happens. Let me talk about what you can do right now, today, to shield yourself from the worst of these changes. First, you need to document everything about your current situation before October ends. Get a copy of your current benefit letter from Social Security, your SNAP award letter, your VA decision letter, whatever benefits you receive. Download these and save them in multiple places. Print them out and keep them in a physical folder. These documents are your proof of what you're receiving right now, and if there's a change, you'll need them for appeals. Second, create a detailed record of how you actually live. Document any family members you live with, any help you receive, any income sources. If someone helps you with rent, write it down with dates. If you receive gifts, note the amount and the giver. If you get food assistance from family or food banks, keep that record. This might seem paranoid, but it's not. It's protecting yourself. These details become absolutely critical if you need to appeal a benefits reduction. Third, contact your local Social Security office or SNAP office before October and specifically ask them about the new rules. Ask them directly, how will the October 2025 policy changes affect my benefits? Write down the date, time, and name of the person you spoke with. Get a reference number if possible. This creates a paper trail and forces the agency to be aware that you're informed and paying attention. Fourth, Look up your state's advocacy organizations. Most states have groups dedicated to helping SSI, SSDI, and SNAP recipients navigate the system. Organizations like the National Organization of Social Security Claimants Representatives, legal aid societies, and state disability rights groups often have free resources. Some can even help with appeals if your benefits are reduced. Find these organizations now, before you need them, so you know who to call. Here's an action that could give you an instant win. Something you can do this week. Check your Social Security account online through ssa.gov or your SNAP account through your state's benefits portal. Look for any communications about policy changes. Some agencies are already sending out notices ahead of the official October rollout. If you see a notice about income deeming rule changes or SNAP policy updates or anything about how income is counted, read it carefully, screenshot it, save it. If you can't access your account online, call your local office and ask to verify your current benefit amount and whether any changes are pending. Get a confirmation number. Get specifics. This is your baseline, and it gives you power because you'll know immediately if something changes. Now, let me address something that might be happening in your mind right now. You might be thinking, this seems huge. Why isn't everyone talking about this? That's a really fair question, and the answer is complicated. Policy changes that primarily affect poor, disabled, elderly, and vulnerable populations often don't get major media coverage. It's not that journalists don't care. It's that these stories don't generate the same engagement as celebrity scandals or national emergencies. Also, frankly, there are political dynamics at play here. Different groups have different opinions about benefit programs. Some people think benefits are too generous and should be reduced. Others think they're inadequate and should be increased. So the narrative gets muddied, and the people most affected, you, often get left without clear information. This is why I'm making this video. I'm not here to push a political agenda. I'm here to make sure you have the facts and the tools to protect yourself. Regardless of whether you think benefit programs are too generous or inadequate, the truth is that if you're depending on these payments to survive, a sudden $200 reduction is a crisis, period. Let me walk you through what to do if your benefits actually do get reduced. First, do not panic. I know that's easier said than done, but panic leads to poor decisions. Second, request a notice of action from the agency. You have the right to know exactly why your benefits changed. Demand specifics. Third, gather documentation of any changes or arguments about why the reduction shouldn't apply to you. Fourth, file an appeal within 60 days of receiving the notice. This is absolutely critical. Missing the appeal deadline means you lose your right to challenge the reduction. Fifth, get help. Call an advocacy organization, reach out to legal aid, contact your state representative's office if necessary. Many of these agencies have people specifically trained to help with appeals and don't charge anything. Finally, keep a detailed record of every phone call, every email, every piece of correspondence. This creates an official record that protects you if the case goes further. Here's what I want you to understand about the bigger picture. These changes are part of a larger conversation happening in this country about how we support our most vulnerable citizens. That conversation is important. We should be having it. But whatever side of that conversation you're on, the people actually living on these benefits, they deserve honesty, transparency, and time to prepare. They deserve better than discovering a $200 cut because their payment is suddenly smaller. You deserve that. The 60-year-old woman with arthritis who's been on SSI for 20 years and gets help from her daughter. She deserves honesty about what that's going to mean. The veteran who gave years of his life in service and now relies on disability payments to survive. He deserves clarity about what's changing. The single parent using SNAP to feed 3 kids after the business they worked at closed. She deserves better than a surprise hit to her food budget. We're talking about real people, real struggling, real lives here, and those lives matter. Let me circle back to something I mentioned earlier about the hope part of this story because I don't want to leave you in a place of fear. Yes, these changes are happening. Yes, they could affect you. But here's what I've learned from tracking policy for years. People who prepare for changes are better positioned to handle them. People who know the rules, who document everything, who reach out for help, who appeal when they need to, they often come out okay. They might face some difficult months, but they find resources, they navigate the system, they adapt. Also, these policies are being challenged in some cases. Some state governments are questioning whether the new rules are actually legal. Some advocacy organizations are preparing legal challenges. The landscape might shift. That's not guaranteed, but it's possible. The point is that this isn't necessarily a permanent loss. It's a challenge, and challenges can be navigated. Before I finish, I want to give you something concrete to do in the next 72 hours. Make a phone call. Call your local Social Security office, your state SNAP office, or your VA benefits coordinator, depending on which programs you receive. Ask 3 specific questions. 1. Have you received any updates about policy changes scheduled for October 2025? 2. If changes happen, how much notification will I receive? 3. What should I do if I believe a change to my benefits is incorrect? Write down the answers. Write down who you spoke with. Write down the time and date. Then search online for advocacy organizations in your state that help with benefits. Bookmark their websites. Save their phone numbers in your contacts. You're not using them today, but you might need them in a few weeks, and it's better to have that information ready before you're in crisis mode. Finally, share this video with anyone who might be affected. If you know someone on SSI, SSDI, SNAP, or VA benefits, send them this link. Let them know this is happening. Knowledge is protection. Community is protection. And right now, not enough people know what's coming. To everyone watching this, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not alone in this. Millions of people are navigating these same systems, facing these same changes, dealing with these same fears. What I see in these numbers, behind these policies, are real human beings who deserve respect, clarity, and support. You've earned these benefits. You deserve them. You shouldn't have to be scared about losing them because the government didn't communicate clearly about what was changing. That's not how it should work. The fact that I have to make videos like this, that you have to search for information about your own benefits, that's a system failure. But we're not powerless. We're informed. We have tools. We have organization. And we have each other. Every single person who watches this video and prepares themselves, who reaches out for help, who documents everything, who fights for clarity, you're part of a larger movement of people who are refusing to be left behind by a system that's supposed to serve them. That matters. Your effort matters. Your attention to this matters. So, here's my commitment to you. I'm going to keep tracking these changes as they develop. I'm going to update you as things unfold. I'm going to keep bringing you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it goes against popular narratives. That's what I do. That's why I'm here. If this video helped you, if it clarified something important for you, if it made you feel less alone or more empowered, that means everything to me. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Please share it with anyone in your life who needs to see it. Turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates about benefits, policy changes, and your rights as a recipient of assistance. Leave a comment below. Tell me your story. Tell me if these changes have affected you. Tell me what questions you still have. This community we're building here, it matters more than algorithm ratings or view counts. It matters because you matter. Your situation matters. Your fight to maintain stability and dignity matters. So thank you for watching. Thank you for caring enough about your own future to spend these 12 minutes learning about something that directly affects you. That attention, that care you're showing for yourself, that's the foundation of protection. And I'll see you in the next video. Stay informed. Stay strong. You've got this.